This is Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on Viking Athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Now, let's catch up on the action and excitement of Augustana Athletics as we roll our Augustana Sports Update for this week.
Last weekend, Coach Jason Reitmeyer's number 13 ranked Augustana wrestling team picked up a pair of road victories. The Vikings knocked off Concordia Moorhead 21-12 and defeated NSIC foe the University of Mary 27-16. In the win at Concordia, TJ North was victorious at 125 pounds, Jeremiah Peterson at 133, Nate Herta at 149, Sean Hattlestead at 157, Jeff Nielsen at 184, and Jade Docken at 197. In the Mary match, TJ North, Jeremiah Peterson, Nate Herta, Sean Hattlestead, and Jade Docken again piled up victories for the Vikings. Also winning for Augustana were Tim Weber at 174 pounds and Brian Schultz at heavyweight. The Vikings are now 4-1 in dual meets this season with a 1-0 mark in NSIC action. In men's basketball, Coach Tom Billiter's team split a pair of home games. Cold shooting plagued Augustana in a 60-48 loss to league-leading Minnesota State. But the Vikings came back the next night as they edged Concordia St. Paul 67-66. In the Minnesota State game, Augustana got out to a 29-23 halftime lead, but the Vikings could not find the basket in the second half. Senior Cameron McCaffrey led the way with 15 points, while sophomore Alex Richter grabbed a career-high 8 rebounds. Against Concordia, Augustana led 41-28 at halftime, but the Golden Bears came storming back in the second half to take a 64-59 lead with about 5 minutes left. But that's when Cameron McCaffrey took over to lead the Vikings back to victory. Cam led the team with 17 points and 5 assists. Casey Schilling added 14 points and Yuri Nalashenko tacked on 11, with Zach Huskin adding 10. Zach also grabbed 7 rebounds. Augustana now has a 9-2 overall record with a 5-2 mark in NSIC play. In women's basketball, Coach Dave Krause's team dropped their first 2 games of the season. The Vikings fell to Minnesota State 80-79 and Concordia St. Paul 70-61. In the Minnesota State game, the Augustana ladies led by 18 points in the second half, but the Mavericks came back to earn the win. Double-figure scorers for the Vikings were Alex Feeney and Cami Coyne with 15 points each, with Sean Tiva Ashley adding 13. Feeney led the team to a 44-36 rebound advantage as she claimed 13 boards. Against Concordia, Augustana got out to a 30-20 halftime lead, but the Golden Bears caught fire with 50 second-half points to claim their 7th victory of the season. Faith Tenklenburg led the Viking attack with 18 points. Lydia Nelson added 13 and Alex Feeney 10. Augustana committed 20 turnovers as their record dropped to 9-2 overall and 5-2 in the NSIC. That's our sports update for this week. We'll be right back with men's basketball coach Tom Billiter. Stay with us.
Augustana Sportscene is brought to you by Sanford Health, improving the human condition, and by Mid-Continent Communications, part of our community, part of your life. Augustana Sportscene is also brought to you by Graham Automotive, real service, real value.
Making it look easy.
Show renewed strength. Whether it's our physicians, therapists, or athletic trainers, Sanford offers the finest and most integrated orthopedic team and services around.
There's nothing he couldn't lift right now.
For the everyday competitor in all of us, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Meet Rob Moore from Aberdeen, South Dakota. As a Mid-Continent service manager, he makes sure our service techs have the tools to keep customers ahead of the technology game. Rob also keeps busy coaching youth football, teaching kids both the fundamentals of the game and good sportsmanship. Looks like Rob's a game changer in more ways than one.
I'm Rob Moore, and we're good people here in Aberdeen.
It's got that certain everything. The 2012 Jetta. That's the power of German engineering.
Joining me now is Augustana head men's basketball coach Tom Billiter. Well, Tom, last weekend the Vikings were back home, starting the new year here with a pair of home games. Started out Friday night with Minnesota State Mankato, had a nice lead in the first half, but just couldn't seem to put things together.
They're really good. That's a good basketball team, and they're much better now than they were in November. And that's how it's going to be with a group that brings that many new kids in, and they're talented, and they're starting to mesh. And I've never seen a kid even like Williams, who was 3 for 12, have such an effect in a game, and just the different things that they do. And they're a good basketball team. Having said that, had our chance to win. Had a nice lead at the half. In fact, the one thing this team does that we do is we guard, we play hard. Well, we were up 6 at the half. We should have been up 15. We held them to 32 or 3% shooting. I mean? We should have had a bigger lead, and we didn't. But I'm not taking anything away from Mankato. That's a really good basketball team, well coached, good group of kids, and they play hard. And it was a heck of a game. And our kids battled them, but they are physical.
Right.
They allowed the game to be physical both ways.
Right.
And it was just probably a game that we needed to not have it be called quite that way, but having said it, boy, are we going to feed off that, and we're going to continue to be physical, because they got to call it both ways if they're going to let you play roller derby, and that's fine.
Well, it was a war out there, and the Vikings came out in the short end of that one. Then on Saturday night here, Concordia St. Paul came in, and the Vikings off again to really a big lead in this one. And then you knew they were going to come back and make a run, and here they came.
You and I had talked. We were up 18-2.
Right.
Winona State was up 18-2. Winona State beat them by 3. When we were up 24-7, like we were against Upper Iowa, I had 2 timeouts taken in the first half. And I save timeouts at the end to rest guys. Really, is what I do. I took 2 in the first half. The second one, I was still up 12. And I took it knowing that lead was going to evaporate.
Right.
And so what do? There's sometimes you just keep playing, coaching, doing the things you got to do, and hopefully hang on for the win. And there's going to be, I'd like to, at the end, I rarely do that. I always keep playing, stay aggressive. I had Leif Noemlin with 4 fouls, Alex Richter with 4 fouls. I had Cam McCaffrey, who had held Monahan, who is arguably one of the best point guards in the league, 1 for 12. And some of that was he just missed some shots, but Cam did a good job on him. He did a very good job on Van Pelt, one of the top leading scorers in the country. He's tired. And so by letting the clock run down the last couple minutes, limited their possessions.
Right.
And that's all we were doing. And I'll take Cam one-on-one with anybody in the league. So it didn't look pretty. I understand. I love that everybody knows enough about basketball to have an opinion on it, which is awesome. They should. But I liked what we did, and maybe it won us the game because it gave fewer possessions back to the opponent, and that's why we did it.
Well, when you end up on the left side of the scoreboard with more points than the guys on the right, it's a great victory. And the Vikings, one of the key things, Tom, is, of course, Concordia came back, got a 5-point lead, and your guys reached down deep and won that ball.
Really proud of them, just like I was at Upper Iowa with this group, because I don't think it tends to be an issue when you give up a lead like that and get down as many as 5, which happened both times, to just say we're done. And it's easy to just throw it in. And our guys just didn't do that. And it really helps to have a kid like Cam at the end that can make baskets. And he wants to win. He's a senior. He's been a great player, not a good player, a great player. And he wasn't happy with Friday night, And so he came back out on Saturday, and he didn't talk at all and walk through. He was very quiet, but he was determined, and he just wasn't going to let us lose that game. And he didn't. But there were a lot of other things, like Noemlin's defense, and there were some keys down the stretch. And how about, Zach Huskin? He has a first start against Mankato, gets initiated. Like I said, he's pushing the penny down the hallway, and he was initiated. The next day, an hour before our walkthrough, he's up in the gym shooting, comes out, 10.7 boards, and played, I thought, just a really solid, good game. And those are the things that you see as a coach that just know down the road how good our program can be.
Yeah, and those freshmen really stepped up along with your veterans.
Casey Schilling with 14, and Dan Jansen does stuff. People, well, he's not scoring. He's doing stuff that goes unnoticed. Trust me. And he's just a workhorse down there.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you're 9-2. You're 5-2 in the
I know the way I'm
SIC.
talking, you'd think we were 2-9.
Yeah,
I will say this though: Concordia is the best 2-9 team in the nation. That is the
Yeah.
best 0-7 team I've ever played.
Yeah,
They're
and
good.
you know they're going to come back and get some wins against some people, and we have to play them again. Anyway, we're into a tough stretch. Road games. Vikings at Bemidji State on Friday night, at Minnesota Crookston Saturday, and then next Tuesday on to Wayne State. Tom, this is a grueler.
Yeah, we'll see. I know. And plus we get Bemidji after they kind of got beat by Moorhead pretty good. How intense is their week of practice going to be? And Cockrell, and they've got good players. Mike Boschig, really good. The family, Jeff and Yeah, his brother played at Canton. They're just great people. I've known them all for years, and Mike will get them ready to play. And, we'll have our hands full, but that's okay. I kind of like getting on the road with our group. It brings you together. There's a lot of good things that can happen, and I'm sure the weather will be a balmy whatever, 10, 15 below in Bemidji, and we'll get over to Crookston where it's even warmer. So it'll be a fine trip. We'll go out and play our tails off, win or lose. This is all part of the process for this group of learning and getting better.
Yeah, and then back to Wayne on Tuesday. Tom, it is, as you always say, every weekend, line them back up, and here we go. So good luck to you.
Can't wait. Ready to go.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good luck
girl.
to you and your team.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, play!
Today we come together, united as a human family. Today we share the same stage, the same commitment, the same dream. Today is not just about the ceremony, the flags raised at the end. It's about what it takes to get there, the commitment, the finest training, and digging deep when the moment depends on it. Today we come together to improve the human condition.
With 25 years of experience and an outstanding trio of dentists, Doctors Berdahl, Fayok, and Swingdorf, along with their caring team at Sensational Smiles, are passionate about developing long-lasting relationships. Sensational Smiles will partner with you to keep your teeth clean for a lifetime. Also check out our cavity-free club for kids with Sammy our mascot at sensationalsmilesforyou.com. Call 332-4751 now for a sensational smile every day.
You can be part of
something bigger.
As Sioux Empire Federal Credit Union, you'll have more than a place to do your banking.
As a member of Sioux Empire Federal Credit Union, you'll receive interest refunds on your loans, actual cash back every month.
They're the loan leaders. They even gave their members over $91,000 back last year.
And no hoops to jump through.
Just a place to do your banking, where you are the focus, not profits.
Sioux Empire Federal Credit Union. Yesterday's values, tomorrow's technology.
Midconet Extreme Wideband. 3 levels of extremely fast connections with exceptional capacity to choose from. Extreme 1.0. Exciting speeds that start out faster than anyone in the region. Extreme 2.0. Exhilarating speed for gaming or streaming. Extreme 3.0. Extraordinary speed for the whole house. It's among the nation's fastest. 3 extreme speeds. Only from Midconet Extreme Wideband.
Build your own bundle and save today. xisnext.com.
We're back, and with me now is Augustana women's basketball coach Dave Crowell. Well, Dave, last weekend the Vikings came back home, had an undefeated record going, took on a very good Minnesota State team, very good Concordia St. Paul team, and unfortunately things didn't go our way either night.
No, it was it was a tough weekend, obviously, if you just look at the bottom line, and we lose a couple games. Both games we had leads in the second half, and but boy, you just, at least from my standpoint, we never got comfortable or felt good with them. It was just against a couple teams who were very hungry, and really in both cases it was like they're winning national championships, and I think they rode that emotion, both Mankato and then Concordia the next night. So it was a couple of tough losses, and it's going to be interesting to see if we're capable of bouncing back from these, because it wasn't one or two that struggled. I mean, we played hot potato. Nobody wants the ball at crunch time.
Yeah, well, and once you get a little bit tight, the confidence seems to move a little bit, and some of that probably happened too. But is there one thing you can put your finger on if you looked at it and said, what was the worst thing? What really plagued us the most?
Yeah, and I think it's just our style of play a little bit. We're not, we don't have that real number one scorer, even though Alex Feeney, people would think that. Alex is not that kind of player. She's come off the screen or shoot when I'm open. And so we've keyed a lot of our offense on our defense, and we have sort of settled back. We get in foul trouble. We tend to get tentative, which you naturally can do, and so our lack of depth, particularly at the guard spot, just seems to have be plaguing us a little bit, and it might not be that noticeable to the average fan, but we just haven't been very aggressive and created some things on the other end with our defense.
Well, turnovers were a little buggy-boo for us too.
Oh yeah, no, it was probably, and we had a 3 weeks off, and I caught a couple passes that I kind of looked down. I said, "No, I'm not. Don't even have the same colors as the team does on." So, yeah, it was a struggle, and so I mean, it's one of those things. Positive is that we don't have to talk to anybody about are you going to go undefeated or this super season, because now we got to work on getting ourselves back on our feet.
Yeah, well, Dave, you've been doing this a long time with a lot of success, and so how do you go at it this week with practice?
Well, I think you just have to go at it with with some hard work. I don't like the punishment type of a mentality, because it's not like kids are doing anything intentionally or whatever, but we do have to work hard, and I think get a little bit better defensively. We really got taken advantage of with a kid that we just couldn't match up with a single player against Mankato. And yet we still just have to do a better job with team defense, and I think if we can key some things there and kind of get that going a little bit, hopefully it'll trickle over to the offensive side.
Well, here comes a rough stretch for the Augie Vikings. 3 road games in 5 days. It starts on Friday night of this week at Bemidji, Saturday Minnesota Crookston, Tuesday at Wayne State. Dave, this is an important stretch.
Yeah, this is really going to be a tough one too, because you're putting on some miles and really on our side, these are all good teams, even though they're not all going to end up winning the league. Bemidji's a very dangerous team, especially there. Crookston is just a good team that tends to get overlooked almost because some of their other sports aren't very good. And Wayne came back and beat Mankato by 20 the night after they beat us. And so that's a tough stretch in 5 days. Like you said, 3 tough road games.
Well, Dave, get them back, get them rolling. Good luck to you and your team.
Thanks, Bill.
It's got that certain everything. The 2012 Jetta. That's the power of German engineering.
With 25 years of experience and an outstanding trio of dentists, Doctors Berdahl, Fayok, and Swingdorf, along with their caring team at Sensational Smiles, are passionate about developing long-lasting relationships. Sensational Smiles will partner with you to keep your teeth clean for a lifetime. Also check out our cavity-free club for kids with Sammy our mascot at sensationalsmilesforyou.com. Call 332-4751 now for a sensational smile every day.
Meet Rob Moore from Aberdeen, South Dakota. As a Mid-Continent service manager, he makes sure our service techs have the tools to keep customers ahead of the technology game. Rob also keeps busy coaching youth football, teaching kids both the fundamentals of the game and good sportsmanship. Looks like Rob's a game changer in more ways than one.
I'm Rob Moore, and we're good people here in Aberdeen.
You can be part of
something bigger.
At Sioux Empire Federal Credit Union, you'll have more than a place to do your banking.
As a member of Sioux Empire Federal Credit Union, you'll receive interest refunds on your loans, actual cash back every month.
They're the loan leaders. They even gave their members over $91,000 back last year.
And no hoops to jump through.
Just a place to do your banking, where you are the focus, not profits.
Sioux Empire Federal Credit Union. Yesterday's values, tomorrow's technology.
Timing means everything here at Sanford, where experts have the skill to make split-second decisions when life hands you the unexpected. It takes a team to be the best, prepared and connected to a network of care, to life-saving treatments, ready before you ever need us. Your heart, our hands, connected. Sanford Heart.
Joining me now is Augustana Assistant Athletic Director and Senior Woman Administrator, Ann Traphagen. Well, Ann, the ratings are going to shoot through the roof here on Augustana Sportscene because we've got Ann on. A lot of you folks out there have seen Ann at events and different things. Some of you know what she does, a lot of people don't. probably understand. We're going to get to that here in a minute. But first, Ann, Kimball, South Dakota, hometown, and tell the folks out there where you been after Kimball.
Well, once I left Coyoteville, I went out to South Dakota School of Mines, graduated, and then I worked for a couple years as an engineer with my engineering degree, and then I went up to St. Cloud State, got my master's degree in health and physical education. So it's quite the combination of an engineering degree with health and physical education master's. But I knew I wanted to get back into athletics as I played basketball at Mines. And I took a position as a head women's basketball coach at Dakota Wesleyan. I also was an administrator there as well. And got an opportunity to go back to School of Mines as assistant coach and director of sports marketing, and that was real great. And then I had a great change in my personal life, got married, had this position at Augustana open up, and was lucky enough to be able to come here as senior women administrator.
Yeah, and many of you out there know that Travis Trapphagen is the lucky guy that's married to Ann. They have a little guy, Grayson. And of course, Travis is the women's basketball coach at USF, used to be our assistant women's basketball coach. So it's just one big happy family here in Sioux Falls. Anyway, Ann, talk a little bit about your duties as assistant athletic director and senior woman administrator.
Sure. Well, it's really just a cross-section of lots of little things, which I really enjoy. You know, it really keeps me on my toes with different duties every day. Probably the thing that's the biggest for me is eligibility and compliance. I'm the point person at Augustana for that, helping our athletes, student-athlete welfare, and making sure that our athletes are doing what they need to do, NCAA and NSIC conference-wise, following the rules. Assisting coaches, education, rules, they change every year. We have the upcoming convention next week that we'll talk about a little. And so that's probably the biggest portion of my day. Along with that, I do have some sports that I assist with, men's and women's golf, men's and women's tennis, volleyball and softball, help them with some budget planning, fundraising planning, scheduling, officials, and some event management, all which I enjoy. And it really makes my job fun to be able to do, like I said, lots of different things. I also enjoy being almost kind of the point person with conference and NCAA-wise. I'm on some national committees, NCAA Legislative Committee, NSIC Championships Committee, and I'm also on the Regional Ranking Committee for women's basketball, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, as you can see, Ann's plate is full, and along with Jeff Holm, our Associate Athletic Director, Ann and Jeff pretty much run the day-to-day operations of our department and do a wonderful job. Ann mentioned the NCAA convention. It's coming up here next week in Dallas. Marcia Entwistle, our senior, faculty athletic representative, and our senior woman administrator, Rob Oliver, our president, and myself as athletic director. We all go down there. There's conference meeting down there. There's national meeting down there. And again, is really our point person for NCAA and NSIC. So talk about the upcoming convention.
Well, the biggest part of the convention, they do have some education sessions for the membership. But the biggest part is the proposal legislative changes that happen at the business session. And that's a big, 4-hour meeting on Saturday where there's 1,000 people from Division II membership in there. And these proposals come out early fall, and you look at these rule changes, and that's where the vote takes place. And for the past 3 years, the NCAA has kind of taken the approach, as we've heard rule violations and kind of some big stories in Division I. Division II has taken a philosophy of let's kind of make the coaches, athletes, and administrators, compliance people's lives easier, ease the burden. Life and the balance have been the big key buzzwords that we've heard in Division II. And so actually they're kind of doing a little deregulation. They've deregulated, contacting. We can contact juniors now, the number of official visits. They've just really deregulated to help make coaches, athletes, recruits, administrators' lives a lot easier, and I think it's working out.
Yeah, well, Ann, as you can tell, is very knowledgeable in so many areas, does a wonderful job for us here. And closing thoughts, you like your job at Augie?
Like is an understatement. I love it. Of course, I got the best boss in the world.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
But, it's like I said, when you're able just to be able to work with students and really help them, and you see them go off, and you get to know them for 4 years, and you see them go off and into their lives and really become young adults becoming into their life people that they become. And they still represent Augustana. You know, 5 years out of college, we still think of them as Augustana student athletes. And it's just really enjoyable to be a part of that.
Well, Ann does a great job for us. We're fortunate to have her. Thanks for being here, Ann. Good luck.
Thanks.
He's got the strength and is making it look easy.
Show renewed strength. Whether it's our physicians, therapists, or athletic trainers, Sanford offers the finest and most integrated orthopedic team and services around.
There's nothing he couldn't lift right now.
For the everyday competitor in all of us, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Meet Rob Moore from Aberdeen, South Dakota. As a Mid-Continent service manager, he makes sure our service techs have the tools to keep customers ahead of the technology game. Rob also keeps busy coaching youth football, teaching kids both the fundamentals of the game and good sportsmanship. Looks like Rob's a game changer in more ways than one.
I'm Rob Moore, and we're good people here in Aberdeen.
How do you hold a moment? Keep friends and family close. Witness the passage of time. Replay the glory days. Relive magical nights. Create memories to share. How do you capture a lifetime? One picture at a time. Life Touch. Photography for a lifetime.
You may have met one. The teachers who challenge. The ones who motivate. The ones who can fire imagination. The ones, in short, that you'll find at Augustana. Now, maybe you don't believe that one college could have so many great professors. If so, you're in for an education. Augustana.
Let's take a look at the Augustana sports calendar for this week. Friday, January 11th, basketball hits the road at Bemidji State. The women tip off at 6, followed by the men at 8. Saturday, January 12th, basketball is at Minnesota Crookston. Women at 4, men at 6. Wrestling competes in the Division II National Duels in Springfield, Illinois. And indoor track gets their season rolling at the Minnesota State Open in Mankato. Sunday, January 13th, wrestling finishes competition at the National Duels. And on Tuesday, January 15th, basketball is back in action at Wayne State with the women at 6, followed by the men at 8. For Augustana Athletics information, you can hear Augustana women's basketball on KXRB AM 1000 and worldwide on the web at kxrb.com. And the Augustana men can be heard on KIKN FM 100.5 and worldwide at KIKN.com. And for complete information, go to our website, goaugie.com, where you can also get discount tickets at goaugie.com/tickets. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another edition of Augustana Sportscene. So long, everybody.
You have been watching Augustana Sportscene, a weekly review of Viking Athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Learn more about Augustana College in Sioux Falls at augie.edu.